In this video, we will be looking at fascinating world of bitmap images. We'll explore what they are, how they work, and why they are essential in the world of digital graphics. By the end of this video, you will have a solid foundation of bitmap images and their relevance to computer science. Now, all of you must remember that images and sound are the two most important topics which always come in your exam. If you look at any of the past papers, see there's always a question on images and sound. So, how are images represented? As we all know, everything which is being represented on a computer uses a sequence of ones and zeros. For example, text, video, images, etc. To represent an image, one method is to store it as if it were a grid of colored squares, with each color represented by a unique binary pattern. A computer allocates a binary number to every single color we see on a screen. So, for example, if you look at this image, there's red, yellow, green, blue, pink, orange. This square is allocated a binary number. So, let's look at the two types of images which are really important for GCSE. One is called vector and the other one is called bitmap. Now, vector graphics use coordinate X and Y. So, when you scale them, they will not lose their resolution. So, you might say, what is resolution? We will look at resolution in our next video. A bitmap image is made up of series of pixels, which are small dots of color that are arranged in a grid. And the examples of those are JPEG, GIF, and PNG. Now, you might ask me a question, what relevance does that image have on this slide? There is a big relevance, and I'll explain you in a second. So let's have a look at those two images. One is called RAW and one is called JPEG. Can you see any difference? There is slight difference. One is a bit darker on the right, but they are both the same. But when you take that image to a printer and ask that the printer, can you enlarge that image to a poster size? The first thing the printer will ask, is it a RAW image or a JPEG? So what do we mean by that? RAW images are the images which you take with your camera, SLR or your iPhone. And the image which is stored on your SD card is a RAW image. As soon as you download that image, it becomes a JPEG, GIF, or a PNG. So only the RAW images can be enlarged to poster sizes. JPEG, once it's downloaded, if you take it to the printer, it will become pixelated. They will never enlarge it because it will become pixelated. So what is pixelation? I'll explain that in a second. So vector graphics are best suited for simple images like logos. As you can see here, bitmap graphic, if we see the picture, it has become quite pixelated. Vector graphic retains its shape. Another example we can see, bitmaps versus vector graphics. Bitmaps, if we enlarge these little tiny circles, they become quite hazy and distorted, but the vectors retain their shape. So what are bitmap graphics and pixels? A bitmap graphic is made up of a grid of pixels. A pixel, short for picture element, is the smallest element in an image. What do I mean by that? It means, as you can see, there is a cat. We have enlarged its eye. We have magnified its eye, and this is the tiny element. These are called pixels. These little tiny squares are called pixels. Um, let's look at a black and white image. So it says, consider a simple black and white image. If black is represented as 0 and white as 1, then a simple black and white picture can be used using binary, as you can see here. The one thing you must remember, these are little pixels. But this image has got only 1 bit. And we have been doing bits, for a while. So this is 1 bit, this is 1 bit, 1 bit. These are 1 bits in each square. And I will later on explain you how you can have 2 bits, how you can have 3 bits in little squares. And it will give you different color combinations. So what is color depth? Color depth is actually many images, as you can see, use colors. To add color, more bits are required for each pixel. So to add color to an image, you will require more bits. So here you can see there's 1 bit black and white, which is 2 colors. So here we can see which the one I showed you earlier on. Here, 1 color. There are only black and white has got 2 bits, a 0 or a 1. But on here, we will need more colors. The color depth is basically the number of bits determine the range of colors. This is known as image color depth. A 24-bit color image allows 8 bits for each of red, green, and blue. The greater the color depth, the more different colors you can show. Increasing color depth will increase the file size, as you can see here. 24-bit color, which has got 16 million colors in it, the file size is 2.3 megabytes. Compared to the one which is black and white, the file size is only 2.9 kilobytes. So let's look at another example. And I said to you, I will explain you later on. So here you can see this image is using 2 bits. So 00 is a black, 01 is dark gray, 10 is light gray, and 11 is, so these are just 2 bits. You can use 3, 4, 5. So let's look at this example. If a question comes in your exam, a bitmap image has 3-bit color depth. What is the maximum number of colors that can be represented using 3 bits? So remember this formula. We have been using this for a while now. If you remember this formula and if you remember this table, you should be able to ace this question, these sort of questions. So if we have 3 bits, 1, 2, 3, we will have a combination of 8. If we had 4 bits, we have combination of 16. If we have 5 bits, we have a combination of 32. If we have 6 bits, we have a combination of 64. So remember this table. Let's look at an example. This is a 4-bit color depth. It has just 16 colors compared to this one, which is 8-bit color depth, which has got 256 colors. Human eye, I don't think so can see any difference, but when you take it to the printers, you will definitely be able to see the difference between the two. So to recap for our color combination, and we'll look at this table. As I've already told you, this is just a recap. 1 bit per pixel is 2 colors, so 1 bit is 2 colors. And then here it says 2 bits 4, so 2 bits is 4. And then here 3 bits is 8, so 3 bits is 8, and so forth. So let's look at this, that how does the resolution and color depth affect an image. As you can see here, an example. This is an image with 24-bit color, and this is an example for 8-bit color. And as you can clearly see, this is really not sharp. It has got a very poor quality compared to this one. How does the file size get affected by the color depth? Yes, it does. So the more color depth we have, the file size will be bigger. So as you can see here, 24-bit color depth, the file size is 2.3 megabytes. Here, 1 bit is 2.9 kilobytes. So if we go back to that slide which I showed you earlier, here, this one, this is just a black and white image, and the size is much smaller, 2.9 kilobytes. Color depth can affect image quality. In real life, we can perceive a huge amount of color variations. Therefore, the more colors you use in a bitmap graphic, the closer the picture will look to quality. The reason you may choose to reduce the color depth is to reduce the file size. Let's look at an exam question. A radio station uses a digital camera to take a photograph of the computer scientist for their website. The photograph is stored as a bitmap image. Describe how bitmap images are represented in binary. This is the answer because it's 3 marks, you have to write the detail. Bitmap images are represented in binary as the images are split up into pixels. Each pixel is given a binary code which represents the color of that pixel. Metadata is stored alongside the image. Now, we have not done metadata as yet. We will look at metadata later. Explain why computers represent data in binary form. Now, many students, they just don't look at the marks and they start just writing whatever comes to their head. So they would just write 0 and 1. That's not an answer. For paper 1, you have to use the keywords. You have to answer it properly. So what you would write is computers represent data in binary form, as computers consist of transistors, switches, logic circuits, gates, which only have 2 values. So to recap, images can be stored in binary as bitmap and vectors. Bitmap pictures are constructed from colored squares called pixels. Vector pictures show the mathematics to draw colored shapes. Each pixel of a bitmap is stored in binary. The number of bits required for each pixel depend on the number of colors required. The 1 bit will have 2 possible values. 2 bits will have 4 possible values, as you can see, 0001, 1011. So the number of colors can be calculated using the formula 2 to the power n. The number of bits for each pixel is known as color depth.